Coming up next on Wavelength, construction is underway on LCRA's new office complex. Then we'll show you how to stay warm and save money on those heating bills this winter. And Central Texas lights up for the holidays. All that and much more coming up next on Wavelength.
From the Lower Colorado River Authority, this is Wavelength.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Wavelength. Well, as you can tell by the activity behind me, the construction of LCRA's new office complex is well underway. By this time next year, 2 new office buildings will be on this site directly behind the Shapiro building and will be home for some 350 LCRA employees. The Long and Hancock office buildings will be built to resemble a campus. There will be a covered walkway between the buildings and an open courtyard for people to get together in. The buildings have also been designed to reflect LCRA's commitment to energy and water efficiency and will include non-point source pollution control devices. For now, the biggest inconvenience for employees will be parking. A temporary lot has been set up on Lake Austin Boulevard, and shuttle buses are running every 15 minutes.
Well, this is the first day, you know. I think everybody's a little confused right now, but I think it's going to work out real good after everybody gets accustomed to what's going on.
Be worth it to get a couple new buildings, right?
Oh, but I really think so, yeah. As long as it doesn't go on, you know, too long.
Project manager Mike Walker says contractors have been urged to move quickly on the project to limit any inconvenience. How long do you think the temporary parking will last as far as the remote stuff?
It'll only be until early spring. It'll probably be 3 months. And then everybody will be able to park here on site in the surface parking and then the parking garage. So it shouldn't be very long at all.
Once the Hancock and Long buildings are finished, renovation will begin on the Shapiro and Miller buildings. And once all of that is complete, sometime in April 1993, LCRA will close out all of its leased office space in Austin and move everyone home to the new complex. LCRA's 6 dams have withstood some mighty big floods over the past 50 years, but how long will the dams last, and what would happen if the worst possible flood came along?
At this point, we don't know. Currently, we're under a dam compliance program where we are evaluating each of the 6 dams that we operate.
The dam compliance program requires LCRA to prove that its structures can withstand the worst possible flood, a flood unlike any other Central Texas has seen.
Best example would be a Noah's Ark type flood. The rainfalls that are being projected for this are on the order of 30+ inches of rainfall over a 7-day period. And we have experienced rainfalls in excess of 25 inches in Central Texas, but not to the extent of 500 square miles of 26 inches of rainfall. But Noah's Ark would be a good example of what this is referring to.
Here at Wirtz Dam, engineers are drilling 80 feet deep to get core samples of the dam and foundation. These samples will help answer some important questions.
Basically, the core samples will be taken into the lab and tested. We'll get some strength information on both the concrete and the granite. And the other reason for drilling is to put in piezometers, which will be able to measure the pore pressure of water, pore pressure through the structure as well as underneath it.
Core samples will also be taken at Buchanan and Tom Miller, and if the results show any structural problems, the dams will be reinforced. Engineers have already completed their investigation of Mansfield Dam and determined it could withstand any potential flood. The study will be complete in about 6 months, and any modifications to the dams would begin shortly after.
The leaves are on the ground, cold weather is here. That's why we got together with the folks over at LCRA's Conservation Division and put together a list of tips you can use around your home to keep the cold air out and your energy bills down.
There's some things you can do to your door as well. You'll have a lot of air that'll leak from below, and you want to put these sweeps across. It'll keep the air from coming in. You also want to have a threshold so this plus that sweep along the bottom will keep air from coming in from below. You can get this V tape, weather strip tape, that will seal along the side here, plus this jam weather strip, and these two things together will give a tight seal on the perimeter of the door. Some studies will suggest that about 20% of your air leakage occurs at your switch plates. So you want to take off your plate here, and you can feel the air coming through here from the outside. These things only cost about 25 cents each. You can get them, again, at hardware stores. They come in packets of about 8 to 10 each. Put this back on. If you have a fireplace, you want to make sure that you have a tight damper, okay? And be preferable if you had a glass screen. Now, another major source of infiltration or leakage is the joint between the brick and the wood. You can see this has been caulked up, and that's a pretty good gap right there. And I've seen situations where you can actually see daylight outside if you look between the brick and the wood. So you want to make sure this is caulked real well here and at the top where it meets the trim. This is the area that's called your return air plenum, and it's the area where the air is drawn from the house into a chamber and up through the furnace and heated and back out through your supply ducts. Now, this area is just as important as the ducts that run through your attic and come through your registers. You want to make sure that it's tight and well sealed. What you do is you take off your screws, you pull off your return air grill. You want to make sure that this grill is clean as well. Just soap it and wash it down, get the dust off of it. Inside here, what this area generally will look like will be bare concrete and just the framing around this box. You want to make sure that you take your caulk gun and you get in and you seal with as much caulk and be as liberal as possible on all the joints, at every single joint inside this chamber, and then you can put down some insulation to keep it just a well-sealed, tight beginning of your duct system. And it'll make a lot of difference, because if you don't, that attic air will draw down through the wall and mix in with your return air, and it will decrease the efficiency of your unit. Another key area is attic insulation. We're going to come up here and take a look at it. We recommend that people bring up their level up to R30. You can do it yourself, or you can hire someone to do it. When you do it yourself, you're going to need at least 2 people. You'll have to have one person down in the garage that's feeding the loose insulation into a mixing bin that then is blown through a hose, and you have someone else up here that's blowing the insulation around the areas where it's needed.
Of course, a very simple way to save energy is to keep that thermostat set at 68 degrees during these winter months. And if you leave your house, cut the heat way back or completely off. It'll save you money.
Basically, it's a chain reaction. Once you disturb the soil, and it starts to erode, the plant roots become exposed. The plants then begin to fall over, die, and the trail and the erosion just grows wider and wider.
LCRA recently participated in the Texas Trail Symposium here in Austin. A wide range of people interested in park issues spent time learning about trail design, maintenance, and construction techniques. The symposium was particularly timely for LCRA since the agency is currently developing the Colorado River Trail, as well as numerous primitive camping areas.
LCRA's role in it would be significant in that we are the major landholder on the Highland Lakes. We own 20,000 acres of really what we consider recreational lands. A lot of those lands have great trail opportunities, and it's something we hope to do more of in the future, especially as it lends itself with our primitive recreation efforts.
We loaded the outside row of holes.
Bob Steinholtz has been building trails for the National Park Service for 13 years. His advice to agencies like LCRA is to design good trails and then build them to last.
Whatever you build it right. My philosophy is to spend the money on construction, and hopefully that will reduce future maintenance.
The information from the Trail Symposium will be particularly useful this summer when LCRA opens 3 new primitive recreation areas on the Highland Lakes.
Texas has a lot of rich traditions. Of course, one which takes place each Thanksgiving involves a little football game between the University of Texas and Texas A&M. The prize? Bragging rights for an entire year. And it seems those bragging rights are extended to certain areas of LCRA.
Hello, I'm Bubba Reese of FPP, graduate of the class of '76. Many of you know that Texas A&M is full of lifelong traditions. Well, the Aggies of FPP have also tried to maintain a tradition, and that's flying that flag back there for the past 7 or 8 years. Well, through the good graces of our plant manager, Dudley Pylan, who is the T-SIP, he's allowed us to keep this tradition going for 1 more year. Gig 'em, Aggies.
Well, it's the Christmas season, and many of you are probably doing your last-minute shopping. So to help you out, we thought we'd spend a minute with the folks in the safety division to have them tell us about what some of the more popular Christmas items are this year and the safety equipment that goes with them.
Many of you are going to be looking here in the hardware department for that Christmas gift this year, and you find circular saws, jigsaws, sanders, chainsaws. All of these items, when you read the directions, tell you to use safety devices with them. For instance, nearly all will say to wear protective glasses or goggles. Some will say to wear gloves. Others still will even want you to wear hearing protection. These chainsaws are very, very loud, and they in particular are going to need hearing protection. So when you buy that gift this year, buy the complete gift.
If you're going to be buying sporting goods for the holiday season, particularly a mountain bike, you might want to consider buying head protection for your family, cycling gloves, and headlights for oncoming traffic during the evening.
During the holiday seasons, many of you will be snuggling up to a fire. Another great idea would be getting a screen for your fireplace. This prevents the sparks from leaving the fireplace and jumping out on the rug, therefore preventing a house fire.
Another great idea would be this portable CB radio. It plugs right into your car cigarette lighter, and this would be a great gift for your daughter or wife.
Christmas is the time for lights. Many of you will be putting lights on your house, in your yard, and of course a Christmas tree. When you do, be sure to use the proper extension cord. Instead of using 3 or 4 of these little ones, get one that's extra heavy-duty extension cords. This will prevent overload to your electrical system and probably prevent a fire.
The person who has everything that's hard to buy for, think about these 3 items. Smoke detector, everybody should have one, a lot of people still don't. Emergency light, battery powered, always charged and ready to go, a must for every home. 3rd item, fire extinguisher. Everybody needs to have a fire extinguisher and needs to know how to operate them. These 3 handy items fill the bill for that person that's got everything. Now they really will.
The Fayette Power Project near LaGrange. This coal-fired plant has one of the highest efficiency ratings of any power plant in the state. One primary reason for such a rating? Dedicated employees doing quality work. Here in the machine shop, these crews are constantly coming up with new and better ways to get the job done.
Whatever other departments need to repair or maintain their machinery they're overhauling or working on, we try to supply it as fast as we can. Type of job where there's no spare, you got to get it back online as soon as possible. You go around the clock on that type of work.
Mike Pickering has been with LCRA for 11 years now. He works with his hands, shaping metal into usable replacement parts. So how does he relax at home? He works with his hands, shaping metal and wood into usable and beautiful knives. Mike's brother got him started about 8 years ago. He enjoyed it, stayed with it, and taught himself along the way.
I get pleasure out of seeing people, when they buy it, they really get excited sometimes. And I like to see people enjoy what they spend their money on.
Mike occasionally takes his knives to the Houston gun and knife shows, but most of his sales come by word of mouth from one satisfied customer to the next. Mike also makes the leather sheaths for his knives, which range in price from $140 to $180.
This is the beginning, and that's the end results, finished product.
The final touch is, of course, the signature, which to Mike means a great deal.
Well, it's usually a job completed, or I'm satisfied with the quality. If I'm not, I don't put my name on it, I don't sell it. It's a one-time deal. If it's taken care of, it'll last a lifetime, and they can hand it down to their kids.
LCRA line maintenance crews caught the holiday spirit recently when they put the finishing touches on the official state Christmas tree at the Capitol. When the switch was turned on, their work helped light up Congress Avenue. Of course, this is the season of lights, and with the help of lots of our friends from all over Central Texas, we're going to take you now on a tour of lights in communities throughout the service area.
On behalf of the senior management team at LCRA, we wish you a Merry Christmas, a safe New Year's, and look forward to a great 1992.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year!